Okay, so welcome to this market overview. It's Tuesday morning currently, and we're just gonna be running through essentially the main things I'm looking at here, what levels, and kind of just a quick overview. I don't want to make this too long. I always ramble on and ramble on, so I'm gonna try to keep this around around 10 minutes to get you guys the best overview possible. I'm not going to run through all the altcoins in my alt list. I'm going to primarily focus on Bitcoin, ETH, and then just tell you guys the thesis that I'd be looking for on a bunch of these altcoins. I'm not going to go over why my watch list is the way it is and what's in my watch list, etc. If you're curious about that, well, you can just look at kind of what is in my watch list here, right, and what is not. And then you can kind of copy that. And if you want the reasons why these altcoins are my watch list and others are not, then I have a video that I actually recorded about, I think last week or something, where I go over exactly how I pick a bunch of these cryptos, these projects that I want to trade and don't want to trade. And it's not based on projects or fundamentals. It's based purely on price action, right? Since that's, well, what a trader essentially does. So I'm just going to dive in, try to keep this short. So, well, Bitcoin rallied to 42.5 or something. What was it? 42.4 overnight. And we're just in such a fucking crazy, beautiful trend. You know, it's such a beautiful arc. It's like, this is a trending market if you've ever seen one, right? So what would I be looking at here primarily when it comes to Bitcoin? Is let's start off on the daily and kind of work. Let's start off on the weekly actually and work our way down. Something amazing that I would want to point out here is we have, 7 days now? This is the 8th, or weeks rather. This is the 8th week that we are in an uptrend. That is insanely strong. I think historically that is, according to a great friend of mine, Sergio Tesla. You can follow him on Twitter. I'll toss his @ below. He gather statistics and has a dashboard he's working on, which is absolutely phenomenal. And it is just statistically very rare that this occurs. Now, some people would argue that this doji candle here is not really an up, since that's the whole point of a doji candle, that you essentially, so doji candles, for those that don't know, are candles that close and open essentially at the same price, something like that there, something like this up here. And these type of things are called doji candles. And the whole point of a doji candle is essentially, and all these are kind of doji candles, right? That there's indecision. And some people would say a doji candle, whether it's up or down, doesn't matter, since it's a doji candle, so it's not up or down theoretically. I disagree. I think if it's white in this case or green, it's a green candle, period, right? We're up. You can disagree with that if you want to. Be my guest. So theoretically, this would be 8 weeks currently in a row. Now we're currently on day 5 or day 2 of this week, 5 days left. And so there's a chance this closed below, but 8 weeks in a row is historically, I think, only done once before, or 4. I think it's 4 times actually. According to Sergio, it's 4 times if I remember correctly. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. But essentially what I'd be looking for is, despite this being an intensely strong trend, is at some point we're going to get some rejection and we're going to see some lower levels again. That's a simple thesis. I have been, in fact, kind of scaling into shorts on numerous projects here. And I think that is a wise choice. So what I have set up here is essentially 2 ranges, or 1 mega range, depending how you want to see it, right? So here's with the little dots, you can see all the levels, right? And you can see that this is 1 range, 2 range, and then 1 entire range with quarters and halves color coded essentially. So at all these levels we have key levels. So what I'd be looking at is, since we have closed above what I thought would be a great order block here, to kind of get rejected off, we just blasted through, which is exactly what you want to see in a bull trend, right? So in a great trend, you want to see us blast through these levels, and you can see we rejected, blasted through, and are now currently hovering above it. So that's essentially it on the weekly. We are insanely bullish, and it's great trend, and you wouldn't want to be trying to call the top, but you would want to see weakness and start entering shorts from there. And I would do that on seeing the weakness on the daily chart. So we're going to go down to the daily. what we are looking at here is, again, this amazing trend, right? So this amazing parabolic kind of banana type of trend, so to speak. And what you want to be looking at is these levels, right? So we are currently looking on the daily like we want to kind of reach this 43K level, which is kind of the quarter zone of this top range, right? So the 3/4 zone of this top range. This, whether we retest it and reject, then you could see for some retest here and enter short back down. The most plausible area where everybody's looking at is 31.32. You could theorize that if everybody's looking at 31.32 for longs, then you might not want to long there, or you would. That's it. Really, for me, it all depends on how price action actually forms up into that 31K level. But essentially, whatever level we're at, I would want to see some type of consolidation at this level, right? And then we want to see a breakdown, which we can short from there. You wouldn't really want to just call this top here and be like, hey, I'm going to enter short here because we're not going to go above this level, right? And just enter a short position right now. I would not do that. And I think most people's plans are not like that. And if yours is, then, and it works for you, then that works for you. But so what I'd be looking for here is this kind of breakdown of the trend, a retest above these levels, kind of taking out these highs, and then coming back down, showing weakness for the first time, and then on any kind of trend from there up into that zone where there's a good risk reward. So that would be like entering here above these highs, suppose these highs form, of course, and then entering this short to see more downside and hopefully down to 30K or something in that region. So the thesis is simple. We are relatively overextended. It's an amazing trend, so you don't really want to say, hey, we're just going to call shorts and we're going to go max short. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you would want to, the risk to reward on shorts is much greater here than it is on longs based on something like this occurring, of course. Not if we just break through 43K and then reach 46 and then we just keep doing these fucking insane breakthroughs, right? In that case, we keep trending long. Another thesis you could follow is essentially saying, okay, Bitcoin, once we start seeing this up here, which is essentially consolidation, right? So we see this kind of range forming up here. You could start thinking, okay, ETH is going to catch up, and a bunch of these alts are going to catch up. A crazy good play yesterday with that dump on alts was essentially longing anything that was relatively strong. Right, so anything that was still up while everything else was down 10%, anything that was still in green, whether it's 0.2% or whatever it is, that is relative strength. And then you just kind of pick up longs on those relative strength coins, and you would have been up greatly, as I was with BLZ, Blazel, or whatever that was, or whatever it's called. That was a great long just based off of that, right? You can see probably the same with something like Say, right? So you can see here that we had this dump. And off of this relative strength, that might have, like, I can't really say in hindsight since I'm not sure, but that would have been a great area to kind of long into and then see this pump to new highs here. So that's kind of what it is with alts, which was my thesis, which I followed, which is if we see a dump on alts and Bitcoin is relatively strong, then you should probably pick up those relatively strong alts in that dump, and then we can see a rally from there. As for ETH, to keep it short, we're already almost 10 minutes in here. So ETH, I'm expecting and hoping for a kind of catch-up play to Bitcoin. If you look at the relative strength here comparatively to Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin relative to ETH is currently up at these highs, right? So these like March 2022 highs, and you can see the March 2022 highs on this are here on ETH, and we are nowhere near that, right? I think it's another like 50% or something before we get to these highs. So I'm not saying we're gonna rally on ETH all the way up to here if we do a catch-up play, but a catch-up play could be up to here, and once Bitcoin starts showing weakness, you have a good opportunity to still long something based on this little consolidation we might be forming here, and then ETH could pump up to this level or something like that. So that's essentially the catch-up thesis, right? So if you're still looking for longs, which you could be on alts, you would want to play it in this way of Bitcoin consolidating. During that consolidation, you're looking for longs and to play that to the upside. Additionally, we're in this up only phase on Bitcoin. You can see that on the daily, like we looked at, right, with all these lows not taken. So once these over leveraged longs are going to get punished, which they will, because that's just how the market works, we're going to see over leveraged longs get punished down, taking all these things out, and you could just see a big dump down like this and a recovery and not even take out these crazy lows down here. Here's a fair value gap, right? So essentially Bitcoin just pumped without ever retesting this area. That's why 31, 32 is such a beautiful level to retest and start kind of accumulating some longs or seeing the reaction and getting back long there. That's essentially the thesis here overall, the overall market overview. It's a beautiful market to have been trading. For anybody that has been trading it, well done. And yeah, that's essentially it. I think that covers essentially what I keep saying essentially, huh? Yeah, so this covers more or less what I'm thinking about the market, what I'd be looking at. And the best indication for shorts in a TLDR short way is just seeing some type of takeout, coming back down, seeing weakness, and then shorting one of these kind of retest highs with a great RR, just stops above this high. Boom. And then hoping kind of that's what we do, that this is indeed the end of the trend, and then seeing some type of retest of lower levels on ETH. Similarly with BTC, seeing some type of retest down to 32 or something like that. And then, yeah, there's a bunch of alts you could be looking at, and all of these are just things that have shown relative strength or relative volume in comparison to the rest of the market, which is why I trade these, and I wouldn't be trading other things that are just showing weakness continuously. So yeah, that's the market overview. Yeah, any questions are of course welcome in the comment section below, and then I'll get to those next week. So I'll be doing these every Tuesday. I'm also thinking of streaming once a week, but for that I would like to see the channel grow up to like 100 to 1,000 subscribers, and my Telegram channel, etc., seeing all that grow to a substantial sum, so that from there we can actually start streaming and getting the proper engagement I'm looking for. So yeah, and finally, like the video, subscribe. That actually really helps, so I would love if you guys could do that. And then yeah, I'll see you guys on the market and trading. See you guys on my Twitter. Follow my Twitter, of course, etc. I'll see you guys around.